Welcome to AMA Online Education, the first IT and full online education in the Philippines. I am Rebulus Cordano, 39 years of age, a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science student. Our topic for this video is about the Philippine politics and governance and the new constitution. To start with, let's define government. What is government and how did it function in a state? A government is an institution or a system made of a group of people duly elected by the people of the country to manage the state. It is responsible for social welfare, law and order, defense from foreign threats, and financial affairs of the country. The Philippines government is a presidential, representative, and democratic, where the Philippines president is the head of the state and the government. The presidential system is a system where an executive branch is led by the president, who is the head of the state and the head of the government. The Philippine government has three interdependent branches: the executive or the president, legislative or the Congress, and the judiciary or the Supreme Court. The executive branch is headed by the president, who is elected by the large vote of the people. The executive power is vested with the President of the Philippines. As the head of the executive department, the President is the chief executive. He has control over the bureau, executive department, and offices. The President is also the chief executive of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. To be the President of the Philippines, the President shall be a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, can be able to read and write, a registered voter, and at least 40 years of age on the day of election. The President is the head of the state and the government. No president shall be qualified for re-election. In 1986 Philippines Constitution, Article 7, Section 7 mandated that the President is the head of the executive department. As the head of the state, the President executes the law instructed by the Congress, may veto bills passed by the Congress, makes appointment to the judiciary and other posts with the advice of the Congress, declares state of emergency and publishes regularities and executive orders. Only the President has the sole power to declare martial law. He also has the power to grant pardons against the offenses to the Philippines Republic, but except in the cases of impeachment. The executive branch has also the Vice President, who shall have the same manner of qualification and term of office and be elected in the same manner as the President. If the President fails to qualify, the Vice President shall act as the President. In case the President was removed from office, died, disabled, the Vice President shall become the President to serve the unexpired term. The term of 6 years for the President and Vice President begins on the 30th day of June and shall end at the noon of the same day 6 years after. No President shall be eligible for re-election or not qualified for election at the same office at any time. Now, we will proceed to the legislative branch. The legislative body is consists of Senate and the House of Representatives or Congressman. The legislative body is vested to the Congress of the Philippines. It composed of 24 senators and 250 House of Representatives. The function of legislative branch in our government are to pass bills, alter and repeal laws, ratify treaties that is signed by the President, and has the sole power to declare war. The Senate gives advice and consent to presidential appointment to the judiciary, executive, and other posts. The House of Representatives has the sole power of impeachment and the Senate for the trial of impeachment. The legislative branch can remove executive and judiciary officers from office for high crimes and misdemeanors. It's the only branch of the government that has the power to generate money and spend it with specified amount that may be spent and the purpose of which it may be spent. To be a senator of the Philippines, a senator shall be a natural-born citizen, shall be able to read and write, at least 35 years of age on the day of election, and a resident of the Philippines for not less than 2 years. The senator has 6 years of terms of office and is not qualified to serve for 2 consecutive terms. Now let's proceed to the judicial branch and the Philippines. The judicial power shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such lower courts as may be established by law. The judicial power includes the duty of courts of justices to settle the controversies involving rights which are legally demandable and enforceable, and to determine whether or not there has been a grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack of or excess of jurisdiction on the part of any branch or instrumentality of the government. The judicial branch interprets the meaning of the laws, applies laws to individual cases, and decides if laws violate the Constitution. The functions of the judicial branch are: determine which laws Congress intended to apply to any given cases, exercise judicial reviews, reviewing the constitutionality of laws, determines how a law acts to determine the disposition of prisoners, determines how Congress meant the law to apply to disputes, and interpret the law. To qualify for a Supreme Court justice, a member must be a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, must be 40 years of age. A member must have been for 15 years or more a judge of a lower courts and engaged in the practice of law in the Philippines. The executive and legislative has the power to create laws. The executive has the power to veto a proposed bill of the legislative, and the legislative has the power to override it with 2/3 votes of the Congress. The judiciary construes laws and the executive implements the laws. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. God bless us all. Bye bye.